Today, I want to talk about authenticity and reclaiming my power as a content creator, as somebody who has an important message to share, but also as somebody who really dislikes the way that the algorithm or YouTube or how everyone says that you need to make content. Now, don't get me wrong. I have signed up for courses. I have consulted with mentors who have guided me on how I should present and package and film and edit my content. And today, I have finally decided I just am going to quit. Not quit posting, but quit following the advice of people that know what they're talking about. There's no doubt. But that all of the things they're asking me to do or that I have been doing feel so out of alignment that it makes me want to just stop. I am somebody who speaks to people and works with people every single day. And I have for over a decade in the capacity as a clinical social worker and somebody who works in mental health. And the thing is that I don't have a script. I don't use a template or a formula. I'm present with people and I use my intuition and my knowledge and my experience and my own experience through my own healing journey to show up in that moment and provide counsel, support, space, whatever that person needs, or whatever I feel would be most helpful for them, or what they've told me would be most helpful for them. Because I always ask people if they want feedback first before I ever provide it. And here on YouTube, it feels like there's so much pressure to have a hook and to be so concise in our points and the messages we're trying to convey and providing value for people who have short attention spans, basically. I've lost the joy of it. I have lost the, I've lost my creativity, honestly. And I have all this self sabotage coming up. I've been posting consistently. I've really been trying to show up because it's important to me. I do want to provide value. And I do think, and I know I have an important message to share. And I love working with people. I really love helping people. But the way that other people who've been vastly successful, and so I give them credit and kudos in their own lane, but it's taking the joy and the love and the fun, honestly, out of everything I was trying to do. When I started this channel back in November of last year, my goal really was to share wisdom and information I had started or kind of reignited my own growth and transformation journey. And I thought it would be really exciting and fun and creative in a way to help others to navigate their own journey who may be on that path. And what I found is that I fell back into old patterns of overthinking and people pleasing and judging myself and questioning myself and having a lot of doubt, when in fact I just had this really important reminder here recently, because lately I've just been feeling really uninspired and I've been really having a hard time kind of figuring out what I want to share, because a lot of things I have been sharing have just kind of, even though the goal was never reach, it was never subscribers, it was never any of that. Honestly, it was for me to be able to have a creative outlet. It was for me to build something for myself outside of the work I currently do, and really honestly to help and impact others, which is what I do day to day. And because I've been feeling so uninspired and just kind of wondering if what I'm sharing is even helpful or if it is relevant or, if I should be putting this much energy and time and space into this endeavor, which has its roots in self sabotage. Don't get me wrong, it's my comfort zone. But I had this really important reminder the other day when I was working with somebody who was going through a really difficult time, and I was just in flow. I mean, this was a pretty long, long engagement with somebody. I was working with them for about maybe 90 minutes, and that time just flew by, and it was like I was present, and I was in the flow, and I was responding in real time to this person who was very much in a crisis state. And after we kind of worked through the distress and we regulated a little bit, and I kind of, was helping to kind of provide a framework or a paradigm once they were kind of ready and were open to some feedback um, of that nature. I had this moment of like, oh my gosh, like this is it. This is what I love. This is who I am. This is the whole identity of Whole Heart Wiley. This is the person that I am when my heart is open and when I'm able to be with people and have that back and forth flow of energy and be helping and impacting people in a significant way. And although I'm never really looking for validation in that way, when we were done, that person said to me, I am so grateful to you. And this space has been such an important crossroads for me because when they called, they kept kind of, they were in more of that victim energy, and they were using a lot of language around having a breakdown, or that this was going to break them in some way. And by the end of the our time together and working with this person, the individual said to me, instead of breaking down today, I am breaking through. And that just hit me. It hit me so deep because I have been there. I have been there. I've been there in that moment where something just clicks. And it was this really important moment for me because it just reminded me that I don't have to try harder. I don't have to be something I'm not. I just have to show up and be who I am in full authenticity. And so I had this, I had this, my own little revelation there. And then I was really sitting with it. Each day as I have my kind of morning routine that I go through and my own meditation and connecting or reconnecting to myself before I do engage with others, I was really sitting with that and thinking, how can I show up more authentically here and really be who I am and still convey, um, knowledge or helpful information or wisdom, if you will. I certainly don't know it all. I'm still on my own journey. But I have had a lot of experiences with others and as a part of my own healing path that have been helpful and significant. And I know that I do have value and things that would be helpful to others to share. And so I just decided that I was just going to quit. I was going to stop listening to everyone outside of me telling me how to be successful. I was going to stop listening to all of the advice, although it's great and that's what they're doing out there. But that's not who I am. And, even though I have gained a lot of skills just recording videos and learning how to do the editing process and all of the things that come along with it. And it's been a really good growth trajectory for me in that way because honestly, when I started this adventure, I was so technologically not savvy. I mean, it was embarrassing. I'll just say, I don't even have social media. I mean, I do have an account, I think, here and there from like years back, but I don't even engage in social media in my personal life. I'm just being transparent and authentic here because it's not how I prefer to engage with people. And so this has been a really big growth opportunity for me. And I really just decided, like, I'm going to practice what I teach. And I'm going to stop trying to be somebody I'm not. I'm going to stop trying to show up as this person that, that everybody else, told me that I needed to be in order to be successful and, be able to post. Because the truth is whether one person sees this or no people see this, it's still a creative outlet for me. And it still is an opportunity for me to share. And so I just wanted to take this opportunity today. I know this style of video is very much different from what I have been doing in the past, and it may feel a little bit different, but I no longer want to have to build out a script and figure out a hook and work reverse engineer from the title back. It's just, I know it's packaging is important. I get it. People have to be interested or curious and want to come in and hear what you have to say. But I know there are, and I actually did this experiment. I went out there and started searching for other creators who don't do that and who have been successful, and they are out there. And so that is where I am today. I'm just taking all my power back, and I want this to be a fun, creative process. I want to feel inspired. I want to share when things come up for me that I think would be relevant and helpful for others. And I don't want it to be forced, and I don't want it to be scripted. And I want you to be able to see who I am, the real person I am, as I sit here in front of you, the person who went from a very dysfunctional, emotionally reactive, very disorganized, attached person to somebody who has been able to walk through the fire and come through the other side. And yes, I still have moments, I still get triggered. We all will. But now I have more skills, I have more tools, I have more awareness. And the biggest thing I have is a greater level of curiosity and kindness for self. The way I relate to myself is so much different. It's so much different. I can't even, that's the biggest shift I have had. I used to be so judgmental and cruel to myself, and I had all these perfectionist tendencies. And honestly, that's what was coming out when I was trying to be this person online. It's like I got into this loop of like, this if it's not perfect or perfectionistic, or I wanted it to be, I don't know, just this old version of me started rearing its head. And I feel so thankful that I had that breakthrough moment with that person. I mean, I don't know if they knew how big of a breakthrough that was for me as it was for them, because of course I didn't share that with them because that was their moment. But it's really important that that, regular people have done this work and have been successful, and that there is no level of you feeling broken or not feeling like you can make sustained change that is possible. It's possible for all of us. And I just really, that's the message I want to convey, is that the most important thing for me is authenticity. And that's what I've really been working on these last several years, is stepping into my authenticity, because, I'm a little out there. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, I say that lovingly to myself, but I don't try to conform, and I show up as who I am. And I'm a little flamboyant sometimes, and I laugh a lot, and I smile a great deal, and it's authentic. It's real. But for some people, that it just doesn't resonate for them. And I really have worked so hard to find contentment and joy in my life. And even though things are always perfect and I still have chaos in my life, I have young kids, and there's that honestly, that is what dysregulates me the most, is, I having certain activations or triggers around parenting, and, being able to be the calm, confident leader when my kids are in a complete state of dysregulation, or even sometimes working in the field of crisis. It's like I'm human. And, when I get overly stressed, or I feel urgency, or when I have, um, you know, I feel stress. Not that I have to engage with it, but when I feel it, I have to self soothe too. And I have worked really hard on that skill set. And that is something that I really do pride myself on, is being able to hold myself in those moments. And, I meet myself where I am. I allow myself to feel feelings that don't feel comfortable for me. And I do a lot of self inquiry, and I'm really aware of myself. And so, that is something that I always talk to people about, that, most people really don't want to hear that, the real skill set is just showing up moment to moment, day to day, being aware of ourselves, creating space so we don't, react before we have a moment to pause, being aware of our body signals, grounding back down into our body. I am definitely an overthinker. So, I can get that mental energy going and it's just like straight up and out the body. And here I am up in my head ruminating. So, so they are things that, can be changed. They're things you can work on. These are all things that any person can learn. And I think the biggest travesty is that so many of us didn't have a caregiver or a parent modeling for us, or we didn't have anybody who mentored us in emotional intelligence or nervous system regulation skills as kids. And so we never learned that skill set. And I always tell people, much like parenting, it's not an innate skill, meaning like you either do what your parents did or you do exactly the opposite of what your parents did, or you go out and you get somebody to help teach you a different way. And that's exactly how it is with emotional intelligence, as far as like identifying feelings, being able to feel our feelings, being able to work through discomfort, working on nervous system regulation and self soothing skill sets. We don't just innately know them, because as kids, we're highly adaptive. So we just do what we need to do to survive. And so, like I said, if we don't have somebody modeling or mentoring that for us, then yeah, we have to go out and we have to gain that skill set and we have to practice it each and every day. So that's what I want to share here, because that's my zone of genius. That is what I love to talk about. That's what I love to help people with. And there's other elements there too, that go along with all of that, that goes along with childhood programming and, wounding. And the way that we show up and engage with others in relationships and the way we relate to ourselves, all of that kind of comes in there together. But those are the things that I talk to people about day to day. Those are the things I help people with. And those are the things that I would love to share with you. So I am Whole Heart Wiley. This is me in full authenticity. You are so welcome here. And if this is resonating with you, I'm so glad. And I hope you'll stick around. But if not, that's okay too, because either way, I am able to share, to open my heart, and to give back to others. So have a wonderful day. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.